How are you?
I mean, whenever I'm having a tough day, I need to come on this show just to hear Pat's intro. I mean, it brightens my day every single time.
Oh, good. I'm happy to hear that. You've obviously done a lot for me. Look at the show. You know, if I'm never a teammate with you, this shit doesn't happen. I understand that, and I will always be grateful and appreciative of that. But let's talk about the newest thing that you guys have created. And whenever we found out about it during the women's season, towards the end of it, there, we thought, wow, this is incredible because of all the magic that happened. Full Court Press, a behind-the-scenes look at the women's college basketball season through the eyes of all the stars, including Barbosa and Caitlin Clark, and obviously Bluter's in there out of Iowa, and Dawn Staley, and the girl from UCLA, Kiki Rice. There, and we got real footage. We're at holidays, we're at practices, we're behind the scenes. Congratulations, this is huge. How did it come together, and what are your expectations of the people's reactions?
Yeah, thanks, Pat. Yeah, it's called Full Court Press. It opens tomorrow on ABC, episodes 1 and 2 from 1 to 3 Eastern, and then 3 and 4 on Sunday from 12:30 to 2:30 Eastern. Look, we did the quarterback show with Patrick Mahomes' cousins, Marcus, and we were kind of doing the editing for that, Pat, in the spring of 23, and we said, hey, women's college basketball is about to hit a new peak. Should we try to do this in another sport? And obviously, Caitlin Clark's kind of where it started. I did a Zoom with her, kind of talked about the idea for her. She was on board, and we found these things are better when you have multiple players, right? Not just focused on one single player. Caitlin actually wanted to have other players in it as opposed just to focus on her. So we got Camila Cardozo, we got Kiki Rice. It's 3 different players, 3 different schools, 3 different backgrounds, 3 stories. And it's just been fascinating to go behind the ropes, Pat, just like we did in quarterback, to see what these women go through, the sacrifices they make, the hard work they put in to achieve their goals and their dreams. We got unprecedented access, and I think people are really going to enjoy it. It's been a lot of fun to be a part of.
Perfect timing for it for me personally, and I feel like a lot of people we have, and we're not saying we're right for this, okay? We are not saying we're right, but we are open about it. In the last 2 years, we have fallen in love with women's college basketball. And it was because the March Madness that happened, not this past one, the one before, like all the storylines were awesome. Like this LSU team storyline, Iowa with Caitlin, South Carolina, this USC it's like the storylines were awesome. So then this past season, obviously we paid attention with Caitlin Clark selling out every arena and ratings through the roof. It's perfect timing for a lot of us newcomers to basically get a chance to learn about how these ladies got here. Because every time like Kelsey Plum comes on, Caitlin comes on, I'm like, hey, we hear the stories about like Kobe, you know, rest in peace, obviously Mamba mentality. We hear the stories. How many shots a day are you putting up? Like because to get to that point at that stage, the amount of work, and I'm excited that you guys are going to showcase that so that like all of us that are new to the sport can learn some quick history behind it all. Is that a part of it, Peyton? And is that because obviously you were that way where it was like, we're taking 1,000 reps before we're getting in there. Is that part of the showcase of what we're going to see here on Full Court Press?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these girls didn't just show up and all of a sudden become great players. Caitlin played on boys' teams growing up as a kid. Her parents, put her on boys' teams, and so she learned to be competitive. She was dominating against boys. She was beating up on her brothers a little bit, if you will, and that just kind of fed that competitive drive in her. Camila, grew up in Brazil. Her mother sold spices on the street. The fact that she, moved as a teenager to the States, she starts out at Syracuse, transfers to South Carolina. Her journey's incredible. Her mom got to see her play for the first time in the United States on senior night at South Carolina. Kiki Rice's dad played at played at Yale. She went to kind of a great academic school in D.C., not really known for sports. And all of a sudden they realized, wow, this girl's pretty special. She and her dad kind of put in the time and the work. She goes to UCLA, part of this incredible recruiting class. Watch out for the UCLA Bruins next year in women's college basketball. So you see the behind the scenes.
Wait a minute. Okay. We got recruiting analysis going on here too. I love this. Go ahead, AJ. I love it.
Peyton, do you ever wish now that you may have had a film crew follow you around for maybe one season during your career? I know at the time, I'm sure you would not want it, but looking back now, that could be something you could show your kids.
Absolutely. It's a great question, AJ, because, I was approached a couple times, and I just didn't really understand it. I probably didn't trust the people that were kind of pitching me because I felt like, are you going to have my back? Are you just going to try to use all the stuff that are going to make a good show, but might, put our team in a bad spot? Are you going to be a distraction to the team? And those are all fair questions that we still get asked. But the fact that we did quarterback that first year and Patrick Mahomes wins the Super Bowl and wins the MVP of the league, it's been easier to pitch these things now, AJ, because I guarantee if one of you does this, you will win a national championship. And Cardoza does that. Caitlin Clark was the first pick of the draft. Kiki Rice had a great season. So
here we go.
Yes.
Felt like I started out on the right note, but I do wish that I had more of my Colts career probably documented behind the scenes to show my kids, to show my grandkids one day. And that's kind of my pitch to these young women. Make this a memento to show to your kids one day what you used to do, how hard you used to work. And we appreciate these young women giving us the access and kind of trusting us. And look, I've seen all 4 episodes. They are incredible people, and they're incredible athletes as well.
That's great for the sport. It's good for sports media. It's good for sports as a whole. Like, we appreciate it because obviously you pitching these things, I don't want to say much more likely to get done, but much more likely to get done than probably maybe anybody else on earth. So, like, you creating these things for us as sports fans to watch and to be a part of is really cool, too. We appreciate you spending your, and I said robotic work ethic, but let's say your hyper focus on building this type of shit. We made a graphic of all the things that we could find that you've been a part of.
Jesus.
Look at this, dude. Hey, I understand you're great at football, okay?
Sure.
We're all very lucky to be your teammate, and everybody watching you play football is lucky. But what you have done since retirement is like Hall of Fame worthy in like the media world, and you're still just very young in the game. Keep killing it for all of us in this stuff.
Hell yeah.
Please, keep going.
I appreciate it. It's been fun, Pat, to kind of be sort of, maybe to use a cheesy football analogy, kind of the offensive coordinator in the press box, right? I don't have to be sort of the quarterback on the field, and to kind of be behind the scenes and make calls to Caitlin Clark and make calls to Patrick Mahomes and be a part of these shows and to see them come to fruition and to see this show debut on ABC, kind of in prime time this weekend. I feel like I'm more proud of the shows that I'm not physically in as opposed to the ones that I am in. And it's just been fun to be a part of that.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine the voice memos you're sending to these people.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine what they are. Last question here about another thing you have cooking for the fall. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, Peyton, it was either announced or confirmed that Bill Belichick is going to join you and Eli on the ManningCast. And we got a chance to spend a couple days around Bill for the draft this year, and he obviously crushed it. Was incredible. Have you thought at all about how those interactions or how that process is going to go? And are you considering giving him shit the same way that you give Eli shit on ManningCast?
Well, it was an easy pitch to Bill because I said, Bill, we want you to come on. And look, we love to go behind the ropes on the defensive side as to kind of what the Eagles are going to have to do to stop Patrick Mahomes, right? And if you ever run out of things to say, just make fun of Eli, right? That's always sort of a time filler. And Bill doesn't like Eli, right? We all know that.
Yeah.
2 Super Bowls. So just a match made in heaven. But no, that's the idea, is the Bill is going to be a permanent guest on every ManningCast show early in the game, probably the first quarter, to kind of take people behind the ropes as to what this defense has to do or what the quarterback's challenges are. Look, Tom Brady used to always tell me he would sit down with Belichick on Monday or Tuesday to start the week, and Bill would kind of tell Tom, let me tell you the basis of this defense. Here's the D coordinator. Here's his history. Here's what they're being taught, Tom. So here's what you need to try to do to overcome, the holes in those defenses, right? Tony Dungy did that with me when I played for the Colts, Pat. So I can't tell you the advantage to having a defensive coach to take the quarterback behind the ropes on that defense. It made me a better quarterback. So Bill's going to do that. I think the audience is going to be fascinated how smart he is. Look, you guys saw how witty he is. I watched the draft show you guys did. It was awesome. He's quick-witted. He's funny. And like I said, he's just brilliant when it comes to defense and offense, right? I mean, the guy can flat out coach. I really think Bill deep down all these years would have just preferred to have been the linebackers coach and just coach football, right? Okay, I'll be the head coach. I understand that. But he's so good at just coaching ball. Nick Saban's the same way. I think Nick wanted to be the secondary coach deep down all along. I'll be the head coach. But those guys never got away from coaching and the positions. And I think that's what makes them such great coaches. So we're excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. AJ, quick Pat McAfee story, just to segue a little bit. Pat
Please.
Ran the auction at the Peyton Manning Children's Hospital fundraiser. A lot of you guys were there. You know, it's hard to tell a talented guy not to say something, right? Like, you can't tell him, hey, don't cuss or don't say that, right? I remember one time I was at the ESPYs and they told Will Ferrell not to make fun of John Elway's teeth. Well, he made 3 jokes about John Elway's teeth, right? So you can't tell him that. So I don't say anything to Pat. He gets up there for the auction, blue collar Indianapolis, doctors, community Indianapolis. Pat says, how lucky are we to live in the greatest city in America? Crowd goes crazy. They go wild. He says, hey, listen, my wife and I had our first child. Our child had some health issues. We brought him here to this hospital. You people saved my child's life. Now people are crying, right? I mean, he has them on his fingertips, right? Yeah. And I'm like, okay, where is this going? He goes, now get your effing wallets out and let's raise some effing money. And the crowd goes crazy. And we more money than we've ever had in the history of the event. I've never seen a more beautiful introduction. Kudos to you, Pat.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate the internet turning off immediately upon the compliment. But thank you. I was lucky to be there, man. That was a cool event. You've done so many amazing things for this city. You know, everybody sees the statue downtown and they're like, oh, that's because of how good he was on the field. It's like, guy's got a children's hospital here. Like, like his name is on a children's hospital here in Indianapolis. The amount of effect that you have had and still have here is a great one. I was lucky to be there. My wife was pumped. She got to get all dressed up. You know, not a lot of to-dos that we get to go to. The boys were there. You're doing great things, man. I'm lucky to be a part of it. So anytime you need me to swear at one of these super high-class society events, you got it, pal. I swore at Disney Upfront last year. I mean,
I was there for that. I saw that. That was special also.
Yeah, well, and I don't mean to. It's just, you know, hey,
excited.
Are we trying to do this or not? We appreciate you. We can't wait to watch Full Court Press debuting tomorrow on ABC.
Tomorrow, ABC, 1 o'clock Eastern, episodes 1 and 2.
You're the man. Ladies and gentlemen, Peyton Manning.
Yeah, Peyton.